Hey guys, welcome back to Heart of the Hero, Tools for Successful Minds. We're your hosts.
Hey,
I'm Dan. This is Greg.
hey, what's up?
Hey, we're gonna talk a little bit today about some fun stuff, but I just want to tell you a little bit about what we're about. We're about teaching you the tools that you need to succeed. I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but the idea is that we've already begun our journey and we're already lengths into it, and we believe we've accumulated enough information, enough experience and knowledge to help you guys out and help as many people as we can kind of achieve the most out of their life. And so that's kind of why we do this, is because we really believe that everybody has potential, everybody has the ability to have success. And so that's a little bit what we're about. So what are we talking about tonight, Greg?
I just want to throw a nice amen on that. Amen, amen, amen. Seriously though, tonight we're talking about well, you've probably seen the title. You know what we're talking about. How to become a millionaire and why you won't do it. Because there's going to be a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of, you're going to have a reaction, right? You're going to have a reaction like, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a millionaire. But are you though? Like,
are you though?
There's some reasons that you may or may not be, right? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that, and you'll know how. We'll tell you how. We'll tell you how it works, right? We'll tell you what you got to do, but also kind of give you the real scoop on why you might not make the cut, right? So you might be a person who's oriented towards success, right? You might think that you're the cream of the crop. Like, I've got this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and my life's going to be here, and I'm going to go, right? But you may still not become a millionaire because you're not putting in it hard enough. You're not really orienting yourself the right way. There's tools, there's secrets, right? So we want to talk about it today, but prepare yourself. You really need to, if you're not the kind of person who really wants it bad, like if you don't actually want to do this, right? If you're just surfing on YouTube, the internet, whatever, like just looking through stuff and you say, oh, well, maybe I want to become a millionaire. I wonder what this is about. You just don't. Like it's not for you. You have to want it. You got to really want it, right? Because we're really gonna show you how to do that. So by the end of this video, by the end of this cast, by the end of this show, you will know what you need to do. You will know some of the strategies that you could actually use to make that happen, and kind of really the framework that it takes to actually make that kind of money. But you're also going to know what it's going to take from you personally, what you're going to have to sacrifice. You will have to sacrifice what you'll need to do, right? All these things happen. So just prepare yourself for a show that's really going to really tell you what's up.
Well, I mean, I used to talk about it with my friends at work. We used to discuss kind of my business plans and what I was trying to do, and the amount of money that I kind of set, because I believe that setting your goal high. I believe it was you I talked to about this the most, was setting your goal high enough to where if you achieve it, it's actually a desirable number. It's not like you want to set your target low. You want to aim high, and so I aim high, and I would talk about my number, and I won't talk about it on here, but I would discuss it with them, and they would always give me crap. They're like, oh, okay, Dan, yeah, we'll just go out and do that, and I would look at them kind of confused, because I was totally serious. I was like, no, this is that's the number. I mean, like that's what I don't understand. Like, I just gave you the walkthrough of how I'm going to do this. I just gave you the business idea, the business distribution route, what I was going to do there, and it was too hard for them to comprehend that I actually believe that I am able to achieve that, and it wasn't something that they kind of held even in their mind as a possibility. And I think that is a big starter key point there, where you don't even necessarily sometimes the very reason that you're not able to become a millionaire is because you don't even believe that you can. You don't even present your mind with the opportunity to get it done. And I would tell these guys, I'm like, look, becoming a millionaire is not complex. It's not. It is difficult. It is tasking. You have to sacrifice a lot, chunks of your life, really. But it's not complex. It's just whether you are willing to do it or not, whether you are willing to do what is necessary in whatever route you take to get there. What is necessary of you? Because that's the question, is if you are willing to do. Are you willing to emulate behavior of those that have gone before you? because people have paved the path. They've shown you the way. There's so many. How many books? Go on to Amazon and type in "how to be a millionaire," and how many books come up? How many pages of books come up? There is information for days. That's the thing. Greg might get a little more technical on you here. I'm going to stay a little more conceptual here before you, because how to become a millionaire, there's information on all what you need to do, technical business, step by step, that isn't going to be done justice by us talking about it in this video. So what I'm going to talk about, particularly me, this is just me, I don't know exactly what Greg's going to talk about, but is why you're not. Because you're not going to do it, and you might have lost viewers, and there's hopefully we've enough viewers away by the title, because hopefully they read the second part of the title, or else you're in for a rough video, because I'm going to ask you some questions to test you to see how committed you actually are and what you are actually willing to sacrifice to get there, and if you even are in a position where you can seriously consider that as an option for you right now. Now, that does not to say that you're ever fully restricted from this unless you're incarcerated or inept, but you are restricted by the situation that you've built around yourself, and sometimes it takes time to build yourself out of that before you can even see it as a real possibility. So we're going to get into a lot of things here tonight, but information is abundant, and I have read enough books to know how to become a millionaire, so you can.
Look, man. I mean, and normally you might hear some, well, whatever reasons, understanding, wake up, but dude, everybody wants to have millions of dollars. Like, there's no person who doesn't, because if you don't, right? If you don't, the reason you don't is because you have some issue with money itself, because all money is a representational system, right? If I give you $1 million, you spend it on something, like you spend it on food or to go somewhere, right? So you want the stuff, you want the things, you want the opportunities, you want to go places, you want to meet people, right? You want the stuff. Money is just a placeholder. It's a hanger for a suit, right? So one of the things that I think is key, because you said this, and I was like, yeah, it's time. Ask the questions. Really, really ball bust them right out the gate, because you're watching now, right? Like, you want to know, but you may not want to do. You may not want to actually pump into this, right? So this isn't you going to the library and picking up a book and then taking it home and kind of skimming it and saying, well, you know, I do like this, I don't like this. No, this isn't how to fix a car for dummies. This is actually how to do it, right? This is actually how to make it work. But if you're not willing to actually do it, don't watch, because like, you're not gonna do it. Like, you need to just drop that dream. You need to go back to whatever your job is, go back to whatever your life is, and don't do it. Because there are people who had that fire, right? They got that drive. They're like, you know what, whatever it takes, I'm down. Like, I'm ready, I'm here. You're probably not one of them, right? You might be, but you're probably not. Like, so out the gate, what do they need to know?
Percentage wise, you're probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the sad truth. It's the 5% for a reason, guys. It's not
right.
It's not look, this is not something that everybody is going to achieve. Now, that is not to say, to be nice for the short amount of time that I'm going to be. Chasing millions can make you very rich, okay? And chasing millions can get you in a position where you're making more money than you would have been making, and living a certain lifestyle that you're living that you wouldn't have been living if you hadn't have chased that big goal. So there is more merit to even just the lifestyle and the money to chasing that, because chasing it gets you moving in a large way. If your goal is millions, look, you've decided that your next. If you were like me when I started, just kind of living, paycheck to paycheck job, saving a little bit, spending here, having some fun, not really doing much with your money, not saving a lot, if you didn't have a lot going for you, right? You're at this place where you have decisions to make. You have decisions to make when you decide that you want to actually, because look, that's the one thing that drives you. is that your desires, the desire for a lifestyle, a desire for a certain level of living, a certain level of experiencing this world that we all kind of crave. It's more than a feeling and a desire. It's a craving thing that I think some of us feel. The people that are left watching this are the people that are hungry, the people that are willing to like listen to anything. What do you have to say about it? You're out there looking for it. You want to know every bit of information, every trick, every type of mindset that you need to take on to get there, because that's what it takes. And it's all for this desire. It's all for this craving, this curiosity about this type of living that certain percentage of the world get to live. And we all desire that. And on some, if you want to hear us talk a little more lightly and relative to your situation, I think we have a success video. If not, again, it's coming. I say this a lot, but really we have a list. It's coming. And so it's there. Watch our success video, because that's going to talk way more about relative to your situation and your goals, what success looks like, rather than monetary success. But I think we're going to talk very kind of like monetary today. We're talking about millions of dollars and the lifestyle that buys, because millions of dollars buys more than just a frugal lifestyle. It's the ability to travel anywhere you want at any time and not have to work at all. Can you just imagine that for a second? I mean, hold on. I remember thinking that it would just be this, with this lifestyle of craziness and just parties and going, all this stuff. I had this when I was younger, and I thought about it. It was this like baller lifestyle that I was gonna live, And but it's amazing now. Some of the things I think about are the days and weeks and months and years of my life that I'll never have to set an alarm.
Dude, you took that out of my head.
I can just go to bed whenever I want, wake up whenever I want, work whenever I want, and go wherever I want. I mean, that ability, that freedom, I think is something that we crave. That's the pushing desire to get there. And I believe that all of us are given a set amount of requirements to get there, and we will either execute or we won't.
Right. Man, yeah. See, I'm still stuck on this. You said that, and I'm thinking I would pay $1 million just to not have to set my alarm. Like, you wake up in the morning, like it's the word, right?
Man, no, you gotta change your alarm. I got that violin, like
you got the violin,
the real soft.
Dude, that stuff does not wake me up.
Man, you're crazy. You gotta sleep with, man. I wish I could sleep with one eye open.
I mean, I'm a heavy sleeper, but it's like I hate. Everyone hates that sound, though. It's not just me. Like everyone hates to get up in the morning, right? They hate. I mean, you hate getting up in the morning, hitting that button, and going, "Should I go to work today?" Like, do I have to go to work today? Like, can I call off? Can I call in sick? Can I make?
You need to replace that with positive affirmations, because like I promise you're not gonna be a millionaire if you wake up telling yourself some negative stuff like that.
Right.
Go on.
Right. So that's what this is what I'm saying. It's the cost. Like all of this is it's inherent in the cost of the becoming. Right. So there's a lot of people right now, and I'll just go ahead and knock you out of the gate. Right. Because there are people who aren't watching.
We've already been so mean. We've already been so mean.
No, this is the point. This is the point, because it's like there's a mindset you need to have to be open to even get through this, right? Because there's people who will go watch, and I've been here. I mean, I did this for like a year, like almost a solid year, like where I was like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to do this thing, right? So I go watch, the How to Be a Millionaire 5-minute video with a little money background, right? The scientific way to make $1 million, or, like manifesting your millions, or, this famous person, how they made their first million. And you'll do all this stuff, but you won't do anything. You'll watch it. You'll say, that was great. I'm going to be a millionaire someday. I know I'm going to be a millionaire someday. Right. So the people who aren't watching this, and I just right out the gate, if you're not watching this right now, you are the kind of person who is not driven to actually do, right? You're not driven to actually move on this. You're not, if I gave you the keys, right? If I said that here's the door, here's the keys, you got to walk to that door, right? And between you and that door is fire and ice and spears, right? And you're like, okay, cool. I want that million. Cool. And you move on it, right? Because at the end of that door Is it a sailboat? Whatever it is you want. You go move, travel. Like these are things that you want, right? So you're clear on your desires because everyone knows reasonably what they want. As far as money, like most people know, I would buy this, I would do this, I would go here, I would hang out with this person, I would get these clothes. But the problem is most people aren't actually willing to go for it, right? They're not willing to do for it. So if you're here, I'm going to make some hard assumptions. And even then, it might not cut it, but you're ready to do it, right? You're ready to go. You're ready to move. You got that umph, right? And if you don't, well, what's the second part of the video, right? It's why you won't do it. So you're just going to fall into that category. So don't fall into that category. Keep your eyes open. Really pay attention.
And I get it. Because it really doesn't matter if you leave or not. Because if you leave based on this video, if you can't stand to watch this video and hear these truths, then you're not going to make it anyway, because it takes so much harder than that. It's so much more difficult than that. I turned my life upside down when I made the decision to go for what I'm going. And it doesn't look anything like what my life looked like a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It doesn't look at all. It's completely different. It's completely polar. I changed everything that I heard. All that information Greg was talking about, all that information that I tell you is out there, that is abundant, that you can go find. The books that I talked about reading, the excessive amount of books that I've read to gain the knowledge and information that I have, it's useless. It's useless. It's all useless. That's what those millionaires know. That's the thing. That's that gatekeeper society that we're talking about. It's like they have no problem giving everyone in the world all of the information that they have. They have no problem, because they are smart enough and they know that only 5% make it. They know that 95% of the people not listening aren't going to do it. They might get close. Maybe some of them might get close, you know. Some of them might be successful in their own right, you know. But they're not going to make it. They're not going to threaten those people. The people that wrote these books are not being threatened by the people reading them, at least 95% of them.
Right.
So they ain't worried. They're not worried to give you the secrets. I have all the secrets. So does Greg. We don't have to tell you them. You can find most of them on YouTube. You can find them on Amazon, Kindle. I'll give you a reading list if I need to in the description, but it's out there. And I get,
because it's a mindset.
It's just, and look, I'm not saying because I've read all of these books, I'm going to be a millionaire. I know I have the commitment and the drive to see this through to the end. That's what I know about myself, okay? That doesn't mean I fit into that 5%. But what it does mean about what I am doing is I took that information that Greg was talking about, that I was talking about, is I've taken that information and I've actually adapted that information as a lifestyle. The entrepreneurship lifestyle, the mindset. Every time I hear an attitude, a mindset, a way of thinking, a way of working, a way of marketing, I am like, that's what I do. That's my new bloop. Like I'm using that now. Like everything I can possibly find, I am using. I am holding in my mind. I have notebooks for days filled with pretty much useless notes at this point, but they were like concepts that I needed to remember. Like things that I knew were important, but I would maybe forget, and I didn't want to forget. And any day I can go and pull through, remind myself about a lot of stuff because I took notes while I read. And you can have all this information and be completely poor for the rest of your life if you want. It's totally possible, because most of us won't do it. Most of us will try for a little bit. Most of us probably won't even try. Let's say that. Not even us. Let's say most of the people not listening probably won't even try. Okay. Not listening to this or being able to listen to this is kind of evidence to this. Or maybe we just, work on building a following, but I'm just like, you can know all of this and be poor for the rest of your life. Most of you won't try. Some people will actually try. Some of us in here will try, and some of us in here will give up. It won't be me, Greg, but some of us will give up and maybe have some success, right? And then there's another percentage that's going to get really, really close. And they may not give up, but maybe they just don't ever break that barrier. And you had success in your own right. And you're doing real good for yourself, and that's great. But you didn't really make it to that cut. You didn't make it to that 5%. And then there's 5% of us. And there's already me and Greg in here. So like, I mean, like, it's a competitive world. You want to get there. It's competitive. You got to actually get out there and move. And everything that you hear, all this information that's available to you, it's not just like, okay, I read this, so am I a millionaire? It's like, no, you read this. What did you get out of that? How did that affect your life? How did that affect your way of thinking? What are you going to do about your life now that you have that information? That's what it takes to be a millionaire. And constantly being able to change, constant flexibility, the ability to adapt to new information, knowing that it's the right information for you.
See, imagine. Let's just imagine. I'll give you the metaphor, right? I'll give you the metaphor because this is heavy, right? If you're like, well, I just wanted the tips on how to be a millionaire. Like, right? Okay, let's just imagine. Let's imagine you're an alien, right? Let's imagine you've never been on this planet before, ever, right? You've never been here, right? And somehow you show up, right? You're thrown into a body, right? You're thrown into a body, a baby's body, right? And it's a baby's body, and then you grow up, and let's say you're 6. 7. 7's a better number. You're 7, right? You're this alien in a baby's body. So you've had experiences, right? And you can kind of move it around a little bit, right? You can kind of do some stuff a little bit, or maybe you're, younger, older, but you're getting the hang of it, right? You're getting the gist of how it works. Well, the information that you're getting, right? The information, maybe, this show, some of the other things that you consume online, how to be a millionaire, what this person says, and Warren Buffett, or manifesting, or whatever your particular medium is for learning how to make the millions, right? These are ways of teaching the alien to walk, right? You are learning, okay, like, I need to do this. I need to move my arm here. I need to do this. I need to lean this way. I need to put this foot in front of this foot. I need, how do I get over the couch? Okay, I need to climb over the couch, right? It's teaching you how to maneuver. It's only teaching you how to maneuver. It's only teaching you what an arm does. It's only teaching you what a foot does. It's only teaching you what a foot is, right? So your information is really not that helpful. I mean, it is, right? It is. It gets you your own mobility. It gets you your own way to go. But it's not telling you where you need to go. Like, it's not telling you your millionaire trip, right? This is a trip around the world. Like, you got to go walk or run or catch a bus around the planet, right? This is something that you have to actually do, right? So the information, it's only helpful insofar as it gets you up and gets you moving, but it's not telling you where to move, right? It's not telling you where to go, right? And we're going to get into that in a little bit here, some of the where, the how to do it, the specifics that you could use, the frameworks, but you need to understand, right? You need to understand that just consuming, right? Constantly consuming information and what this person's done and what's the newest fad. And, I'm going to post a meme on my Facebook about, make money. Like, that's not going to do anything for you. It doesn't solve your problem. It doesn't make you money. You're still probably poor.
Well, and the thing I think too is that most of us in here, and if you're a repeat visitor especially, you're already on the move. You're already kind of on the way. And especially if you're listening to this video, you're probably already in a position where you're like considering this and having this a serious thought in your mind. And I think what we often lose sight of is our ability to investigate our own lives. Like, for instance, there was a time where I had first started and I was doing a meager amount compared to the amount that I do now for my future, and there was a moment, a book I read, and it was called 10X. And this is kind of a mindset that will be helpful for you, and also a book that can be helpful. But unfortunately, I'm going to kind of sum it up in a few minutes because the whole idea of the book is this one idea. So sorry for that. But you basically need to, look, the idea is 10X your goals. Okay. So if your goal is making $100,000, like, multiply that times 10. That's your new goal. If your goal is to write 250 words a day, 10X that goal. Well, how many words is that? I mean, like, if you have expectations for yourself and how much time you want to commit to this, or how much you think is going to commit to, you have to commit to this, multiply that times 10. Start looking at everything you do as a meager fraction of the amount that you should be doing. look at everything, look at the things that are coming towards you now and are going to come towards you if you're going to go down this millionaire track. Everything that comes towards you, and you look into the future, you're trying to see the obstacles ahead of you, and look out for any stumbling blocks along the way, and you expect a certain amount. You expect a certain amount of stress. You expect a certain amount of pressure. You expect a certain amount of sacrifice, and these expectations you need to multiply times 10. Expect worse, expect harder, expect longer, expect pressure, expect more expensive, expect more time. I mean, expect the most out of every aspect of this, because that mindset, what that does is it allows this. I talk about this often, and it's important because our mind is a tool. If we have a tool of success, it is our mind. And we don't give our mind the opportunity to take on that type of goal, right? Like for instance, okay, if I were told to somebody spray painted a line across this lawn and said, all right, I want you to run and jump, and I want you to jump 5 feet past this line, but you have to jump right at the line, right? You have to jump as soon as you, move a little bit back, and then, get to the line and jump, and I want you to jump 5 feet. And so you back up a little bit and you run and jump, boom, 5 feet. Well, what if that person had told you that they wanted you to jump 30 feet or 15 feet? Let's make it a little realistic, 15 feet. Well, wouldn't you have taken a further run at it? Wouldn't you have backed up a little bit more, built up a little speed, lunged off a little harder, maybe dove to try to make the extra distance or something? Like, you would have had your mind would have given you ideas on how to actually achieve this pretty difficult task in front of you, but maybe achievable. I don't know. Let's see. Like, I can just back up I can back up as far as I want. Okay, so I'm going to back up all the way here. I'm going to run as fast as I can, and I'm going to jump as hard as I can, because you didn't have to do any of that to jump 5 feet. Your brain didn't even have to go there. It was just, you're like, okay, I bet I could stand here and jump that. I'll take a couple steps back just to make sure, but okay, okay, 5 feet. Your brain didn't have to even think about all those extra things, the extra effort, the extra distance, the extra speed, because it wasn't even given presented the option to chase that feat. And so expect more from the obstacles. Expect more obstacles than you do now. Expect it to be more difficult. Expect to give more time. And luckily, and most likely, it won't be as much as maybe you expect. But if you plan for it to be that much, you'll be working harder too. You'll be because you're trying to meet this absurd expectation. So you're like, okay, well, I have to do. Your brain starts to back up and take a running go at it, because you're like, all right, that means I need to do this, and this quickly. And so it's like, all right, let me start, let me go. I got to do this. And you'll end up moving so much faster. You'll end up just evolving so much faster and blasting through problems that you hadn't had before, because you were able to expect a greater amount. And I don't mind going too much into detail this early in this video. This is a little early to crack into this, because this is one of a lot of avenues to talk about being a millionaire, and in ways and mindsets and attitudes to have. Again, the information is abundant, but if you can look at it in the way that it's actually, and again, that kind of goes back to what you were saying at the beginning. Maybe you or I were talking about being open to the idea, or being possible. I mean, even allowing yourself to think that it's even achievable. It's like that there is you only trying to jump 5 feet. You're only just trying to make a living. So you're only trying to jump 5 feet. So your brain doesn't have to think about any of that stuff. Doesn't have to figure out how to make that happen. But if you allow yourself to believe that you can actually have that type of lifestyle and that type of freedom from the burden of finances, then you allow your brain to try and tackle this feat and see what's necessary of you.
Well, and what would happen for the majority of the people, even the people who might be in the 5% right now? What would happen if I said on that line, right? The line's in front of you, you can see it, it's chalky and it's milky white, and you're like, 5 feet, cool, I can do that. 15 feet. I might have to back up a little bit. Yeah, I could do that. What if I told you 197 feet? You have to jump 197 feet. That's what you got to do. Or 1,000 feet. You'd be like, you serious? Oh, you're serious? Oh, no, I can't do that. I can't do that, right? Because there's a belief barrier, right? And so that million, right? That million number, the zeros, the whatever it is, like however that looks to you, however that lifestyle appears, right? You might just think you can't actually do that. Like you might just think that's actually not even a physical possibility for you in the reality that you live in. It's not. But what if it was though? Like what if that
How
was,
could you
what
know
if
if
the
you
only
didn't think
reason?
about it?
Right. Right. That's it. Like how could that even become a possibility if you've never, and sometimes you'll think about it with your friends. Like you guys are kind of, you're sitting watching TV and you'll see somebody win the lottery. It's like, oh, how cool would that be to win the lottery, man? Like $300 million. That'd be so great. And it's like, you're not really serious, but you are entertaining it, right? You're thinking, well, what would I buy? Like, well, where would I go? Like, man, if I had that much extra money, I could just really go spend it on whatever I want. I could travel wherever I want. I could be friends with whoever I want because I would have options. I could move. I could do right. And so it's like, if you don't entertain that, if you don't even entertain it, it's not going to happen, right? So the first step is to just get a little bit curious about what might need to happen, right? What might need to happen for you to go there, right? For you to go in that direction. And so, I'm sure you're ready. I'm sure you're primed and, your energy's pumping. Let's talk about some of the less specific things that are going to have to happen, right? Some of the moving and shaking they're going to have to start doing on the daily to really get this going. Because the thing is, your specific millionaire direction, whatever you're going to have to do, right? There are things that you're going to have to do to get there, no matter what it is. Like whether you're in textiles or you make the next app, right? Or you sell cookies, right? Whatever it is, there are things that you have to do to fit all those categories. What are those things? Like, what are some of those things that they might have to just really start moving on?
I think it's, man, wherever you're at, you need to start scaling. You need to start thinking scalability. Okay, like whatever you're doing, if you don't have a way to connect that to the masses, then it'd be very, very difficult, if not impossible, to become a millionaire. Okay, so I think it was MJ DeMarco. Yeah, MJ DeMarco. He said it in probably Millionaire Fastlane and Unscripted. He says, affect 1 million people, make $1 million.
Right.
If you made $1 for every person you affected, and you affected a million people, you made $1 million. So if you're do whatever you're doing, like he was saying, you're making the next app. You have a restaurant, or say if you have a restaurant, you need to look into franchising. You need to figure out how you're gonna take this business that you've created, standardize it, and franchise it out to different places and start branching out and getting more locations, so that you can reach that massive amount of people that allows you as a business owner to make $1 million. If you're making the next app, social media should be pretty close to your heart. That's an instant, direct avenue to people's attention. Millions and millions of people, billions of people get on the internet. So, there's whatever you're doing, you need to find some way to actually connect it to the masses, actually connect it to people at a large scale. So scalability is very important.
Man, and I want to step back for like a half a second here. And just pop some people in the face, because the how is incredibly important. It's one of the most important things that you're going to be able to interact with. Is like, what specifically, because everybody wants a how-to manual, right? Like, here's the 10 steps to become a millionaire, and if you only do these, you will automatically make your million. It will appear at your front door. Like, that's what you want, right? I get it. Like, it's easy. It's like check, right? Like, that is not going to happen. Sorry, it's not going to happen. And the reason it's not going to happen is because the way that you're going to leverage your own skills or desires or whatever you want, right? It's never going to get that specific to the point where, like, I don't know what your business strategy will look like legally. I don't know that. I don't know that information. Nobody knows that information because it's a fluid system, right? Whatever you do is going to be a fluid system. You could be going door to door, passing out tracts, right? And asking for donations, trying to make $1 million doing that, right? Maybe you do, right? Well, it's a fluid thing. So I want to step back. I want to step one step back here and kind of give you the hammer in the sense of, like, this is what you need to know. This is what you really need to know. You are not smart enough to do this. You are not smart enough to do this on your own. I don't mean you're not smart enough at all. That's not what I mean. What I mean is you live in a world with millions of people, millions of other people who are not you, who've had other experiences, who are, in a lot of cases, they're smarter than you, or at least they have more experience than you, right? Maybe they're 60 and you're 20. Or 15 or 50 and they're 90, right? Well, that gives them a lot more leverage to know things that you just don't know, right? So what if the way to become the millionaire that you want to be doesn't start with you? It starts with the people that you learn from, right? Because it does. So, and this is where this starts, right? You need to study people who are smarter than you. Right? Information that's smarter than you. Make yourself smarter.
What was it again? To quote MJ DeMarco, he said, I don't want. He said, don't be okay. Yeah. He said, don't strive to. No, was it Einstein? He said, don't strive to be him. Man, he said we must become men of value. I'm butchering these things, but he basically said, make yourself valuable. You don't want to make $1 million. You want to make 1 million, value vouchers. That's what he would call them. Because it was this idea that, to make millions and affect millions, you had to become valuable to millions. So, what type of value are you providing? Again, it doesn't matter what business style it is, what type of value we're providing, what people are you actually selling that or providing that service to, and knowing those people intimately and knowing where those people are will greatly affect your success, because the better you are able to target your audience, the more likely that the people that you're actually targeting will get the product that you're providing. You will reach the audience that you're looking for. You will, and I think that becomes a big, and then that's key. That key comes back to masses. That comes back to affecting as many people as you can, providing value to as many people as you can, helping as many people as you can, servicing as many people as you can, because no matter what you're doing, business costs money to run. So you're not taking full profit out of everything that you're selling. That's obvious. If you're not an entrepreneur, maybe you don't know that, but it's not like you're just tossing everything back in savings 100%. I mean, you have to realize that to make that amount, to have that amount of success, you actually have to it's important to, I lost my train of thought here, but it's important to focus on the amount of man, Greg, you have to take this from me. I lost my train of thought, man.
No, it's cool because I had this saying that I say a good amount, right? And it's I like it because it like wakes you up, right, to the right mindset you need to have, because there's kind of a in the go get 'em millionaire, like community, right? People think that you can just like kind of get yourself there, right? But you need to shift some gears in your own head before you can even orient in that direction, right? So one of the mindsets that you need to take on, and I say that as an absolute, you need to take this on because it's the shortcut. It's the back door. It's the easy way in, because once you set your mind this way, you'll start to see all the ideas that could make you your million, right? All the things you could do to create that abundance in your own pocketbook, right? That $1 million in your bank account, right? The whatever it is, and you'll start to see how you could get there. And the mindset that's number one is this: whatever you do, whatever your path is, whatever your way of making money is, right? However you choose to take this on to make that million. If you do that, if you make that decision, the thing that you have to focus on is eliminating suffering, right? You reduce suffering and making people feel better. That's it. That's it. That's all there is. Because anything that you do, and I'll give you a concrete example that I love to use, right? So let's say that there's a woman, right? There's a woman, she's gorgeous, right? She's at home, right? She's at home and she's had a long day, and she's in a long day, right? She sits down and, she's doing her thing. She's drinking coffee, watching TV, just kind of trying to relax, right? Well, her husband comes in and he yells sometimes, right? He's a loud guy, right? He'll get abrasive, right? He's not doing anything, but he's very disruptive, right? He's screaming, he's angry. You can see the vein in his neck, right? And he's yelling at her, and she's, oh, well, just getting very, very upset, right? Just very upset. They argue a little bit. They go back and forth, right? And she's kind of disturbed, right? She's kind of recoiling. She's kind of unsure about where he's at and where they're at. And it's just it's a bad vibe, right? It feels like there might be some danger. So she leaves. She leaves her house, right? She leaves her house and she goes for a drive. She goes down the street. She pulls up at her favorite store, right? And she happens to have some money on her. She happens to have some cash, a card, whatever. She walks into the store, right? And she's looking around. It's beautifully well lit, right? It's just beautifully well lit. She looks and she finds this pair of shoes, right? She really likes them, right? Doesn't matter what kind they are. Maybe they're flat, maybe it's heels, maybe they're tennis shoes, but she finds these shoes that she really likes, right? She sees them and she lights up, right? She's like, oh my God, these are so amazing. This is so great. Where do can I buy these? Like, you have some in the back, do you have my size? And she gets all excited and she's hype. And, the people who work there, they're like, wow, she's really excited about these. Like, I don't know. It's just a pair of shoes, but it's not just a pair of shoes to her. It's not just a pair of shoes to her. It's not this material thing, right? To her, this is an escape moment. It's a moment where her life is left behind, right? She's not thinking about that. She's able to be free and experience the beauty of buying things, right? She's like, man, this is going to look great with this pair of clothes, and I'm going to get to go here, and I'm going to hang out with my friends. So she gets to think about her friends. She gets to send pictures, and she puts it on social media, and she's like, oh my God, I got these new shoes, right? That is a pair of shoes, right? So you need to understand. You need to understand that everything that you do, right? Everything that you buy, every decision that you make is for one of two things. It's to reduce your own suffering and or to feel better. So if you're an entrepreneur, right? If you're thinking, I want to make $1 million, well, how are you going to do that? The way to do that is to figure out what skills do you have, or what skills could you get, or what things could you do, or who could you talk to make one of those two things happen at scale?
And that's really what it comes back to is so, I mean, I think we're onto a pattern here at this point where we're hitting, value and scalability. I think that's maybe the two that we're on here is that you have to identify the value that you're providing, the service that you're providing, and find a way to scale that to the mass population and as many people and reach as many people with that service and with that value. And sometimes that can be difficult. There's other things in your way. There's just so much in your way, like whether you're into an area that there's a lot of that business. There's already 25 businesses online that's doing that exact same thing better than you're going to be doing, and probably for cheaper. And so there's certain roadblocks that you can hit. But that doesn't mean it's over. It doesn't mean that you give up. It doesn't mean you find a way to change the business, innovate a different way of that, enter a new area and a niche that hasn't been quite paved yet, find a unique way to provide value that's unique to your own self through self-branding and understand and getting your own little, take and flair on things. You're not only limited by your imagination. You're only limited by the amount you allow yourself to believe that you're willing to do whatever it takes, because if you're willing to do whatever it takes, then it doesn't matter. You'll fail. I think it's like 4 out of 5 startups fail. It's something ridiculous. And there's a lot of reasons, mainly information and poor decision making, but that really it really shows you that it's okay that this happens. Like, even with good ideas, this happens. Even with smarter people, this happens. Businesses fail for just lots of reasons, but that doesn't stop these people, doesn't stop them in their tracks. It doesn't break them. It's something that it's a pivot is a word that's tossed around often in the entrepreneurship and areas where you hit this kind of this position, and you don't know what to do, and so you have to make an adjustment, and you move and you pivot into a different direction and start going in a different direction, because that's necessary to be flexible, to be able to move with the kind of current of life and as it gets thrown at you and what's necessary of you, and make decisions in the moment. And so I think, again, just to scale back, I think that's really the core of this is finding the value that you provide and how you're going to provide that, and then finding the information on how you can scale it to the mass amount of people.
So I want to talk about for a minute opportunities that they're going to have with value. You're gonna inevitably, we're probably only talking to the 5% now. If you're here and you're with us, you're probably you want to be in that. Like you want to get there, right? You got that fire to really make this happen. Well, there's something that you don't know yet, and it's that you are the $1 million. As good as you are, right? As smart as you are, the information that you have, the decisions that you made, the people that you know, that's you. That's who you are. And that is the number one thing that will limit you from ever getting there, right? So you can learn or pick up or acquire some package, right? Or download some how-to millionaire manual. But ultimately, if you're not in a place where you can get there, right? Because let's say there's a journey. Let's say the journey, let's say it's a month, right? Let's say there's a month's worth of things that you have to do. And it's a lot of stuff, but it's a month's worth of things you got to do to make $1 million, right? Maybe you've got some great idea, and all you got to do is go pitch it to the right person. Maybe you got to send 500 emails. Right. What was it with the Rocky movie? I think he pitched it a bunch of times, right? And it failed a bunch of times. And then he got offered like 300, or he got offered like $100,000 or something. Then he turned it down. Then he got offered like 330,000. Then he turned it down. And the reason he turned it down is because he knew what he had, right? He knew what he had to offer. He knew what value he had. And he knew that he wanted to be the one who played it, right? It was Stallone. He wanted to play the part himself. And he said, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to work this job unless it's mine, unless it goes the way that I'm doing, right? So you are your own product, right? The ideas that come from you are what's going to actually appear in the world, right? So if you're not actually interested or willing to work on yourself, right? To study people smarter than you, to read some books, right? To read some blog posts, some articles, watch some videos, go to some seminars, go to some places, whatever you need to do to get yourself in the space of being able to produce like you need to, right? To be able to think like you need to be able to imagine yourself in situations where you got the money that you want, right? If you're not there yet, or if you're not willing to be there, you'll never make that money. You will never make it, because you can't. Because unless someone's giving it to you, right? Unless they're giving it to you, unless they're giving you $1 million, right? How else would you produce it? How would you make it if you're not willing to change enough to make it? Because do you think that you will be living the same life you're living now if you have $1 million or more in the bank? Would you be living the life that you're living right now exactly? Would it be the same? Would you think the same? Would you feel the same? Would you think differently? Would you feel differently? Would some of your values change? Maybe you might think differently about money or people with money or opportunities or places to go, right? These are mind shifts that you have to make to even get started getting there. And that's why you probably won't do it.
Yeah, and it really is that simple. The obstacles that you'll face may be a little more complex in nature, or difficult in nature. And all of this is immensely difficult. It's they're difficult to stay at it. It's difficult to stare failure in the face and keep going. It's difficult to get yourself up, dust off, and keep riding. it's very counterintuitive to put yourself through the pressure, stress, and daily grind, because that's what it is. It's sacrificing time. It's sacrificing the now. It's sacrificing, depending on what you have, years of your life for a certain lifestyle, for a certain goal that you have. And it is that necessary for you to change. My goals have changed. My habits have changed. My way of thinking has changed. I have put away all my habits, and I have done that multiple times along the way, because I have learned that you have to evolve and keep growing. Is that the more and more you take on, you then become like okay without a load, and you're fine, you're moving okay. Well, you need to add more weight because you're feeling fine, because you need to feel the pressure, you need to feel the drive, you need to feel that weight so you can become strong. Because guess what, when that one becomes easy to hold, you got to put more weight on to keep going. It is difficult to mentally and emotionally withstand the obstacles that come from wanting to be a millionaire and the grind that's necessary for you to get there. And so that's why there's such a low percentage of people that actually make it, is because it's not something that's easy, but it is simple. It is simple. They've shown you how. There's been several dozens, hundreds of successful people that have written books that show you exactly how to do it. It's just that to get there, it takes an immense amount of discipline.
No, and it's easier than ever. So your excuses are garbage.
Yeah, they didn't have. I mean, we just got the internet. I mean, the internet's accessible. I mean, come on, you can literally sign into Facebook and have access to everybody in the nation practically, like, or in your internet sector, whatever they call that. Like, there's no excuse.
Right. I say this. I've said it a lot recently, at least. Right. With the internet, like you have a platform to everybody. So if you think your idea is so good, right? If you think that you have this ability, this thing that's going to change the world, you're the next Steve Jobs or whatever. Like, if you think that's your way of making a million, pitch it. Send an email to 100 of the most prominent people. Go through, look up a Forbes list, and just email all those people. Just email them all with a video of you talking about your idea, talking about how you're going to implement it and the steps and whatever. And you're going to think, well, what if they steal it? They don't care about your idea. Like, these people don't care about your stuff until you prove it, right? Until you show this will work, this could work, right? And maybe you don't have an idea, right? Maybe you don't even know what the way that you'll make the money is, right? Maybe you don't have no concrete thing. That's fine. That's fine. Ideas are a dime a dozen, right? Ideas are a dime a dozen. Self-driving cars. Who came up with that? That's basically sci-fi. That's basically sci-fi. Like, heated seats. Who came up with that? That was basically sci-fi. Like, all this stuff is just it's things that people think up and like, could we do that? Is that possible? Is this something that you could do? And then you pitch it to people and you're like, hey guys, check out this awesome idea that I have. What do you think about a seat that warms itself? That's a stupid idea, dude. That's a stupid idea. Why would you want a seat that gets hot? Like, you sit down and you're just driving somewhere. They have said this about every idea that has ever come up, any innovation, right? Anything that takes people to the next level, any idea, books, philosophies, religions, all these new things that are changing the world, right? At first, you got to go through that period of resistance where your idea sucks, or people don't like it, or they don't want to hear it, or the thing that you think matters, right? The thing that you think is important, the service that you want to provide, people don't receive it. But if you're not willing to go through that, again, that's why you won't do it, because you have to. You need to be able to have the fortitude to push through that. And that's how you get your millions.
I think we covered it, Greg. I think we heard them. And hopefully, if they're still here, they got the diligence and the drive necessary, because it's going to take all you got. It's going to take all the greatness that it gives you is a reflection of the effort that is necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll sum it up real quick. I'll sum it up, and I'll be easy on you, because you're probably buzzing. You're probably buzzing because there are a lot of good tips in here, right? There's some gemstones, and there's some mindsets, and there's some ways that you could do it, and some change, right? But ultimately, you just need to remember this, right? Just remember this: relieving suffering, right? Making people feel better. Whatever your goal is, whatever your business is, whatever your idea is, just needs to do that. You need to figure out, how does it do that? How could I do that? Or what are some ways that maybe I could do that, right? You could be a musician, right? You could be a musician and you could play live. And if you do that enough, right? If you find out how you could do that enough to make people feel better consistently, that's $1 million, right? So but then you got to plug into that, right? You got to plug into that. How do you scale this, right? How do you take this service, this idea, this thing, this book, and how do you share that with millions of people? How do you spread that to millions of people, right? And the internet is the cheat code. It's the easy way to do it, right? But you got to find out what's your platform, what way do you want to do it? Are you going to have distribution? Are you going to sell stuff? Are you going to use Amazon? Like all that stuff. That's things that you need to decide. And it all goes back to what we were talking about. This is not a hard and fast thing, right? It's a fluid system, so it's going to be different for you than for me or for Dan or for anyone else trying to do it, right? Trying to make money, trying to change their lives, right? So you just need to understand those two things, right? Plug it in, make it accessible, and also the mindset, right? The mind shifts that you're going to need to make, right? You need to take on the attitude, and if you haven't, do it. Take on the attitude that whatever you need to do, whatever you need to change internally, right? Wherever you need to orient yourself in the world to really make this happen, right? Maybe someone tells you, hey, so I've got a job for you. And in the long run, it's going to be 3 years of hard work, but in the long run, it's going to be worth over $1 million for you. And you're like, oh, wow, I want to make $1 million. Great. But they tell you you're going to have to wear a tie every day. And you hate ties, right? You hate them, right? Well, that's a mind shift. It's a mindset, right? You need to drop things like that. You need to say, you know what? Whatever it takes. Like, do I got to live somewhere? Cool. Do I got to move? Cool. Like, do I have to lose some friends? Yes. Do I have to lose some friends? Cool. Because there are people who are not going to really align with your goals, right? They're going to say you're working too hard, or you're trying too hard, or your idea sucks. You shouldn't try that, or you should try that when it's one that you shouldn't try, right? So you need to focus on your own self, your own development, your own mind, right? And so if I were to summarize it and really package it up, just remember those things, plug those into your idea, and you're started, right? You're moving. You're on your road to making your millions. We'll see you soon.